LSU 25. You heard it all on the LSU Sports Radio Network.
You've been listening to exclusive live coverage of LSU Fighting Tiger football on the LSU Sports Radio Network. Powered by People's Health.
Gets free inside the 15, the 10, the 5, and carries a Commodore into the end zone. Touchdown, Fighting Tigers.
LSU Fighting Tiger football. Proudly presented by Albertsons, Coca-Cola, Cox, Hancock Whitney, Louisiana Blue, McDonald's, and by Our Lady of the Lake Health.
Nussmeier flips it to Durham. Durham off and running, far side 20, 15, 10, 5. Touchdown, Fighting Tigers.
Hear the roar of LSU Fighting Tiger football. This is the LSU Sports Radio Network, powered by People's Health.
LSU Fighting Tiger football on Eagle 98.1 is brought to you locally by Our Lady of the Lake, Bayou GMC, Rouse's, Gulf State Toyota, Neighbors Federal Credit Union, Service Chevrolet, Pipe and Steel Industrial Fabrication, Super Chevy Dealers, Rev, Sterling Automotive, Lewis Mechanical, Arco Power Systems, and Supreme Automotive Group. This is LSU Fighting Tiger football on Eagle 98.1, the Rock Station.
LSU Fighting Tiger football is a presentation of the LSU Sports Radio Network, a division of LSU Sports Properties and Playfly Sports. Any rebroadcast, retransmission, or streaming of the accounts and descriptions of this broadcast without the expressed written consent of LSUSP, Playfly Sports, or the university is strictly prohibited. LSU Sports Radio Network, a division of LSUSP and Playfly Sports.
Spencer Callahan is the one to see. Call 387-2323.
LA 21-126-81, offices in Baton Rouge.
Eagle 98.1, WDGL and HC1 Baton Rouge. Eagle 98.1 Game Day is on the air. Presented by Super Chevy and Yingling. Your local Super Chevy dealers and Yingling Flight. It's time to talk LSU football on the flagship home of the Tigers. Call 225-499-9898. It's Eagle 98.1 Game Day. Now, live from Rouse's on Burbank, here's Charles Hanagriff and Richard Dixon.
A halftime lead precedes an epic collapse as LSU is routed in Tiger Stadium 49-25. Good evening, everybody. I'm Charles Hanagriff along with Gordy Rush, who foolishly agreed to sub in for Richard Dixon tonight. Glad that you are with us here on this program. Like last year, LSU took a halftime lead into the locker room, and just like last year, the second half could not have been more of an avalanche in the direction of the opposing team. Last year, LSU led by 10 at the half and ended up losing the game by 15, a 25-point swing. This year, LSU took a 4-point lead into the locker room and lost by 24, a 28-point swing. Just like last year, LSU had no answer for a running quarterback. Marcel Reed, for the second straight year, torched the Tigers with his legs. However, it wasn't just that. Last year, LSU at least was able to do some other things that led to them having a lead in the first place. This year, it felt more like LSU's halftime lead had to do with Texas A&M's mistakes than more plays that the Tigers made. Though they were able to run the football in the first half, LSU's lead was born out of a bad snap that put Texas A&M behind the sticks. That led to their only punt of the game. LSU has forced only 3 punts in the last 2 weeks. An interception in the end zone by A.J. Halsey on a very good defensive call by LSU, one of the few on the night that confused Marcel Reed. He admitted in the postgame that he had not seen that defense before. A missed block on a punt block and a personal foul on a 3rd and 18, a dead ball personal foul on a 3rd and 18 from LSU's 17-yard line, prolonged a drive. Mansour Delane did make a very nice play on a tip ball that led to a Harold Perkins interception. And LSU was able to run the football better in the first half than they have at many times this season. But again, it was more of A&M's mistakes, I thought, that led to LSU clinging to that 4-point halftime lead. But a halftime lead it was, and you felt like going into the second half, if LSU could get off to a good start, they'd have a good chance to come out with the win. That did not happen. A&M scored on their first drive. In fact, they scored on 5 drives, outscoring LSU 35-7 in the second half. The problems were, well, they were everywhere. LSU allowed 205 return yards in the game. The second half yardstick before the final drive, which was mop-up time, was 168-14. Texas A&M was 7 of 10 on third down. LSU was only 2 of 13 on third down. So A&M never were able to force A&M off the field. LSU could not prolong drives. Harlem Berry, who got his first start at LSU and had a very good first half, carried the ball on the first play of the second half that LSU ran from scrimmage, then never touched the ball again. The third down plays that they called numerous times were behind the line of scrimmage, much less behind the stick. The first half lead turned out to be fool's gold, and in short, LSU was embarrassed. An avalanche in the second half. It turned the stadium into, a lot of empty seats, and Texas A&M students making their way over to the LSU student section. Gordy, this was a second half beatdown in every way you can have it, and the more I look back at the first half, and I felt this way at the half, I thought LSU would come up with a big effort in this game. The crowd was there at the beginning. The place was full. It was loud. And while I didn't think they made a ton of plays, I thought they took advantage of Texas A&M's mistakes in the first half to get the lead. And to go into the second half, you had a fighting chance. I really thought at the break, I said, this will probably come down in the last 5 minutes, and it was anything but. Well,
every game in the SEC has come down to the last 5 minutes. So, hey, look, I'm blindsided by this as well, too. So many questions and kind of shaking your head offensively. What happened to the play sheet in the first half, right? I mean, the commitment to the run. I even asked Coach Kelly when he came into halftime. The 2 running backs had 86 yards combined. Yep. You took out Nussmeier. He had negative 18, which gave you a net 65, but you had 86 yards running in the first half. That's what you needed. The vertical pass, right? I mean, you had the big one to Berrien Brown. You threw a slant to Aaron Anderson. I thought you did a decent job for the most part helping the young tackles. There were the 2 sacks where they got beat on just straight up speed rushes. But better on the offensive side of the football. We know who we are on defense. We're a risk reward type of team, and the key I thought was trying to keep Reed in the pocket and have him make some mistakes throwing the football. It's feast or famine when he's back there. You matched them physicality in the first half. I mean, this was something you didn't do against Vanderbilt. And all of a sudden, before everybody gets back in your seat, it's bang, bang, and then you get the punt return, and the thing just snowballs. I'm at a loss offensively what we tried to do in the third quarter. You mentioned it. Harlem Berry had 1 touch. A lot of times you're empty in 5 wides with let's call it a quarterback that's not 100%. I thought he was all right tonight, but he's not looking like himself. And then you have 2 young tackles with very good edge rushers, and you're not giving them much help. The balls that you're throwing are 3 and 5 yard outs that are 45 yards across the field. It was a reverse from some of the stuff that you did in the first half that was working. And then, special teams, which has been solid all season, all of a sudden you have a monumental collapse on that side of the football. And I said on the broadcast, credit to I'm tired of scraps of working with me. Colin, the OC for Colin Klein, who's was a quarterback for Bill Snyder at Kansas State. They became Kansas State. They became Bill Snyder, Kansas State. They spread the field vertically. They made a nice adjustment. Basically, we're not going to let Reed throw the ball down the football field and beat us. We're going to turn him into a runner, and it's a high percentage play. And a bigger question. It's kind of where college offenses have gone in this day and age. And then the rest of it just. They wanted it more. They out-physicaled us in the second half, and it snowballed from there.
call it a hunch or just the fact that I've been doing this show for a long time, but I got a pretty good idea that people are more interested in talking about what's next than what just happened, although what just happened may influence greatly what happens next. So let me just say, right now it's difficult to imagine that Brian Kelly can recapture the trust of this fan base in any quick, plausible way. He's lost a lot of people in the last few weeks. This season was set up for LSU to make a playoff run. It was built. It was paid for. The staffing was supposed to be fixed. The talent level was supposed to be there the entire offseason. And look, I bought into it. I thought that the talent level had risen on this team. I thought that they would make a very strong run at the playoffs, and I was wrong. The time for any in-season fixes is over. There's nothing that Kelly can do in this last 4 games of the regular season that's going to change anybody's mind, and at least as far as I'm concerned. What happens after that, I can't tell you. I don't know. I can give you some facts. The first fact is that LSU doesn't have a sitting president right now, which I think makes some, any kind of major moves a little bit cumbersome. Okay, I understand there's exasperation with the athletic director because he's gotten them. He hired this coach and he signed off on this contract, and the contract is all anybody wants to talk about these days. So I understand that. I can't tell you what's going to happen, but I do know that they are going to have to take a long look at this because this is not working. There was a collapse last season. There was another collapse this season. If anything, the program has the rebuild from the Ed Ogeron era to Kelly has been backwards. The year you make the SEC championship game is the first. Is the second year, and you make you've gone backwards since then. This should be the things that are happening in the first year of a coaching change, and then you move forward there, and you make it to a championship game in your 4th year. That hasn't happened here, and that's what they got to take a long, hard look at.
Yeah, for me, I look at the program at a bigger point, and the question, I think, who you want to be in this day and age, and the game's changed, and what we've seen with this new rev share, and then we'll see again next year when you go to 9 games, is every week that what it is in the SEC, it's a war. I mean, there's no great teams, right? Even though A&M's obviously very impressive this year, and there's no bad football teams. You think back to the Les Miles eras, you could count on beating both the Mississippi schools, the Arkansas school, and I mean, nobody's bad, right? Mississippi State, just who they take, Texas overtime. Vanderbilt beat LSU last week, right? Yeah. I mean, we go on and on and on. I think what's missing on the big 2 things for me that's missing right now on this team is obviously a commitment to run the football, and I think a bigger question is the future, and what everybody has today that LSU doesn't have is a dual threat quarterback that can run. And then the big thing for me is the physicality, of this football team. I mean, and early on with Clemson, you liked what you saw and what have you, but Vanderbilt pushed LSU around. I mean, you look at the film, you look at the clips. I thought for a half you went toe-to-toe with Texas A&M, and then he leaned on you in the second half. The good thing is you look at what an Oklahoma did in 1 year. They hired a Jim Nagy, and from that, and you can flip the roster with the transfer portal and everything else, and you can change your identity. And so where, I tend to, everybody's going to, you mentioned the president, everybody's going to yell, everything tonight. To me is that you can fix it, but what's your identity going to be, right? Who do you want to be, and how do you fix the things that are wrong? Which is clear, is that you can't run the football, okay? Mm-hmm. You're putting your defense. It's hard to say about your defense right now. Your defense is on the field entirely too much, right? I look at 3rd down conversions, and LSU was 2 of 13 tonight, right? Texas A&M was 7 of 10, and the 2 I think came probably in the Van Buren series in mop-up time, if I'm not mistaken. For the longest time, it was 0
before that. To Anderson, I believe it was.
And so the good thing is you can fix this, quick. I mean, you're gonna have a big roster. Everybody has a big roster turnover on all that stuff. How you fix it, who fixes it, that's all for debate.
They're monumental decisions. They're expensive decisions. They're things that you're going to have to do. But for this, you can't possibly sit here and say, well, nothing is wrong, or that they've just caught a bad break here or there. You're going into November and you don't have a win over a Power 4 team that has a winning record, which is, kind of hard to fathom when you had this kind of investment into the team. So any idea about, well, this is going to be a quick fix for next week or the week after that, or this season essentially ended tonight. The goal-oriented portion of this season ended tonight. You were built to make the playoffs, and you're not going to make the playoffs. And right now, you got to go in there and look and say what on the spaceship is good, because the defense, as far as compared to the offense, they have played better. But Gordy, they forced 3 punts in 2 weeks,
right?
So they're not getting off the field.
No,
either.
look,
that's first half and second.
No question. And there's the last 2 weeks, similar type of offenses, and that you've struggled with some high discipline. You struggled with some gap integrity, and you've struggled to get off the football field in some big spaces, right? And I know they're down a couple people, but everybody's down, I think, a couple people this time of year.
Beginning of November,
right?
Yeah.
It's just when you go back and you look at Vanderbilt, and we have a lot of discussions during the week because it's a new age of football. And what Clark Lee's done with $4 million is that he's been able to build an identity, and he's been able to establish some continuity with that while bringing in some pieces. And I think that's the recipe that you got to get to. And right now, I think LSU's struggling with their identity, so certainly what they are on offense. And the continuity, that last year that you can count on Garrett Nussmeier hitting Mason Taylor, and they were great on third down. And I think I read the stat before this game. In their wins, LSU had a 45% third down conversion, right? In the wins, they had 18% in the losses. Guess what 2-13 does? That brings that down a little bit more.
Some of that play calling has been absolutely mind-boggling, to be frank. 499-9898 is the number to call on the Hooters hotline. We want to hear from you. LSU loses tonight 49-25. This is Eagle 98.1 Game Day.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one. You. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Raising Cane's is our victory meal.
Football fans are some of the most dedicated fans in sports. It's a fundamental quality we share, and that fuels every single order of our hand-battered chicken fingers. Wherever there's football, there's Raising Cane's.
One love. Let's go.
After a decade of working in private duty nursing, I know how hard it can be to find compassionate care for the ones that you love the most. So I started Decision Critical, a premier concierge nursing agency, so we can take care of you wherever you are. Our highly skilled nurses provide exceptional care from the comfort of your own home with personalized packages for short-term, long-term, or even around-the-clock care. Visit us at decisioncriticalbr.com and give us a call today to get started.
When it comes to choosing energy for your family and your home, make the smart choice with natural gas. You can count on efficient and affordable natural gas to keep you comfortable and reduce your environmental impact to help protect our planet. Together, we're fueling our energy future. Atmos Energy.
ED, low T, or simply seeking to optimize your health and performance? Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness offers a range of discreet services to address your specific needs. We empower men to reclaim their health and confidence. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief: our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority.
It's our purpose.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972. Service Chevrolet Cadillac, our family serving your family.
For over 50 years.
When it comes to pipe fabrication, time is money. And at River Parish Contractors, we make every second count. Our 36,000 square foot shop is ready to take on your projects right now. With experienced welders, precise fittings, and fast turnarounds you can trust. Whether it's a single custom spool or a full-scale run, we have the capacity and the skill to keep your job on schedule. Call us or visit rpcontractors.com for your quote. That's rpcontractors.com.
My father, J.B. Falgu, had a vision of growth for First American Bank and the communities we serve. The bank's foundation was built on his legacy of compassion, loyalty, and dedication. Through his years of leadership, First American has prospered to heights even J.B. could not have imagined. I know my father would be extremely proud.
98.1.
Eagle 98.1 Game Day continues. Aggies win it tonight, 49-25. 499-9898 is the number on the Hooters hotline. Patrick starts us off in Baton Rouge. Patrick, welcome into the show.
Charlie, what's going on, man?
Yeah, good evening, Patrick.
Charlie, I know the buyout, man, but honestly, this guy's got to go. He's got to go, man. Got to go. He can't do it. And if we keep waiting around, we're going to lose Lane to Florida or whoever else. Come up with the money, figure it out. He's got to go. Thank you, Charlie.
All right. Didn't take long, did it?
Well, I mean, you know, I'm sitting there after the first series, and the student section started yelling, "Fired Kelly." I'm like, going to be a night.
Right. What can I tell you? We're in a time where we end up talking more about when coaches are hired, we end up talking about buyouts more than we end up talking about resume, right? What's the buyout? Okay, I mean everybody is, you know, what's the buyout? This is what I can tell you. When LSU wants to, they can find the money. Okay, it's a big bite. When they want to, do they want to? And like I said this in the open, I'm gonna say it again. Okay, this is a high ticket, big decision. And LSU does not have right now today a sitting president. Okay, a permanent president. Okay, because if you want me to spell this out for you. Okay, if there is a decision made somewhere, okay, that Brian Kelly's going to be dismissed, then you also have to ask a question if you're going to let this athletic director, which at that point would own 2 of the 3 biggest buyouts in the history of college football, to make the next hire.
Mm-hmm.
So, and if you don't have a sitting president, you know, and you want to replace the football coach, then are you also going to replace the athletic director? Or are you going to let him make another hire? And what's that contract going to look like? I'm talking out loud here. Well, I understand, and I won't put you in a bad position.
You probably look.
We know all these people, okay?
Well, no, I get paid to, do the, for sports properties, to do the broadcasts and what have you, and running guarantee. First off, I allow you guys to say what you guys want to.
Yeah.
Like we've always said, you've got to critique. Just don't be an asshole when you critique, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm free to speak my mind here.
Also, don't say that word on the air. But
okay.
Yeah.
Well, they can email me if they got a problem with it. Look, I mean, it's always been what's the price of winning and what's the price of losing, right?
Yeah.
And I think what's changed this year is when you've got to raise that much more for rev share and what have you, what's the price of winning and the price of losing, where you're going to have to go out and find money to fund yet another team. And, this is first time around the block on all that.
And again, you want to go you want to go big picture here. If you want to move a coach, you probably are you going to move the athletic director? That's another $6 million or $7 million there. Then you got to hire another one of those. oh, by the way, you got to do all this in 4 weeks. And then 3 months from now, you got an embattled basketball coach who's picked to finish 15th in year 4 of his. That's another $7 million if you want to fix that problem. I mean, at some point, the money tree runs dry.
My point is, and I think for clarity with this, and we were talking about this during the break, is that you can fix things very quickly, either with Oklahoma and the way they did Venables, or by bringing in a new coach. And I'm trying to think out loud of somebody that has brought in a new coach and has brought in a new roster and turned that way with the ability to flip a roster. You look what Mississippi State was able to do here in 2 years, and all of a sudden, they put a program together. Elko. I mean, look what Elko, came in after Jimbo Fisher and has created an identity and has flipped Texas A&M around from being a finesse football team to being a physical football team. So my point is that in this day and age, things are fixable. You got to be committed to, I think, a vision of what that is. And I think for me, the biggest thing is what I'm seeing now is a dual threat quarterback, a commitment that helps you commit to run the football, and you've got to be physical. And I think that's what jumps out at me now watching 2 years of 2 years of football here. The games that LSU's lost, they have not. They've gotten out physical.
You brought up some great examples. I'll give you another one that turned around in 1 year. Did you know that there was a team that had about, I think, 39 players available for a bowl game 1 year, and the next year they were in the SEC championship game? I know because it happened right down the street. But the zips off that fastball for sure. Joel's in New Mexico on the Hooters Hotline. Joel, welcome in the show.
Hey, how you guys doing?
All right.
Hey, look, this can't be what LSU's all about, man. We got a head coach that he's walking up and down the sidelines asking assistant coaches what's going on because he has no clue. And to piggyback on the caller before me, does LSU need to jump the gun and beat Florida and Penn State to that next head coach? Because Oompa Loompa's not doing it. Go Tigers.
I don't get a chance to see the TV, so you can answer that question.
Yeah. There are times where they were showing a split screen, half him and half Sloan, and he clearly seems exasperated. There were multiple third downs that they threw the ball well short of the sticks. I mean, is that on Sloan for the play caller Nussmeier because that's what was open? Take your pick. But yes, he absolutely has the look of somebody who is exasperated at times with his offensive coordinator, with his special teams coach, with his quarterback. Yes, absolutely. I see that for sure. As far as getting in front of the pecking order, none of these hires are going to be made until the end of the season, okay? So I don't think. And especially if you're going after a name, Lane Kiffin's everybody's favorite name for Florida, for Penn State, for whatever other job opens up. Ole Miss won today, okay? Ole Miss is in great position to make the college football playoff, okay? So right now they're sitting on 7 wins with a game against the Citadel that's 8, a game against South Carolina at home that's probably 9, Florida and Mississippi State.
They have a good path. They got a good path to go to 11-1.
I don't see how they can miss the playoffs. So now you're the third
crazy
week in December. So I'm not in any big hurry right this second.
So you guys are doing, you and Jimmy do day-to-day stuff, and you're more intact with the timeline of this. What I ask here is obviously you have one portal, right? One portal is that Jan 17th, somewhere in mid-Jan to the end of Jan, yeah?
2 weeks in January.
And so
2.5.
And then the playoffs are running now into butting up into that, right?
Yes.
So now if you're chasing a coach that gets deep in the playoffs, you're trying to hold a roster without a coach, right? That's going into that, and then how can you effectively? Who's doing all the recruiting, and then how devastating is it to miss a cycle?
It's bad, but it's fixable a lot easier than it was before. What if somebody comes to Lane Kiffin at the end of the month, and I'm not saying LSU, I'm saying anybody, Florida, Penn State, whoever. Well, what if they're in the playoff? Is he going to take another job? Is Ole Miss going to let him coach there? Is he going to give up the opportunity? Ole Miss could win a national championship.
Nobody's going to give up a chance to win a national championship.
Yeah,
I think that's my point, right?
I mean, they need a break here and there, but they could.
Yeah.
They're not they're not outclassed by anybody. I've seen them play.
I'm still surprised they've done as well as they're defensively when you look at them. And you know, for Golding and Gold, I think he's done a great job. I mean, he's 3 and 4 man rush. He's 8 because he doesn't have the Jims and Joes that come up and do what they did at Alabama. But they're not elite on defense whatsoever.
No, it's eventually what will do them in probably is what Georgia did to them a week ago, which is just run the football right at
That's
them.
right.
Okay, but if
which was the frustration, which was the frustration up in Oxford.
But if you catch that they didn't do that. But if you catch a break here and there, I mean, upsets happen. So to answer your question, I don't think you've got to get in front of anybody in November, but very, very, very quickly after that. Rick is in Centerville. Rick, welcome into the show.
Yeah, Charlie. So, I mean, not to beat a dead horse or anything, but we got a coach. We're second and goal. You know, we had some fortunate breaks in the first half. We're second and goal, and we don't even have Trey Green in the game. You know, he's on the sideline. Now, granted, we get fortunate. We run. We score a touchdown. Yeah, great for us. But what kind of coaching is that? What kind of coaching? He's one of your best players, and you don't even have him on the field. And look, as far as I'm concerned, I think Woodard needs to go too. I know we don't have a president, but hey, you got us a baseball coach. You got us a women's basketball coach. But thank you for that. It's time for you to go too, buddy.
Thank you for the call, Rick.
I was surprised that there wasn't more Trudez on the field with the young tackles, with the I thought there'd be a lot of more 12 personnel with him and Sharp to help those guys. And I'm with him. Trudez, on the field, I think at all times is a mismatch. I keep one of the problems is that LSU does not attack the middle of the football field enough. I mean, too many times on the edge, and then what you put on top of that is you got Nussmeier who's not at 100%. You're asking him to throw 35-yard, 3-yard outs from one hash to another, where the middle of the field is, I think, where you ought to be attacking, right? Some run and some play action off of it. And then, the frustration, I get you on the goal line. And now we've seen the quads, and we've seen quads and Trudez enough. And I don't know if you saw it. I mean, I'm down there behind the end zone, and they're running the safety on top of the cornerback. Okay, right? So the safety on top of the cornerback. Yeah. And I'm like, if they're doing that, then, got a pretty good receiving room. Take the best matchup of the quads and go one-on-one and eat it there. The middle of the field's got to be wide open because the safety's on top of that. And look, he threw a perfect ball and kind of lucked out that the double didn't get over there in the first touchdown pass. But, the play's on the other side.
The second time they run it, okay, they explode. They come out of the tight formation and they explode into the star, okay? So you got a decision. You got to go either single coverage on Green, who's a single receiver to the left side, or you double him and you're outnumbered on the other side. So what they did was they actually vacated the middle. They put four on the star, so they're 4-on-4. They put the corner up in press coverage, and they bring the safety over. He's flying to that side at the snap of the football.
I mean, he's not even flying there. He's there by alignment.
Yeah. Okay.
So he's off. He's out the middle of the field. The middle is there, and that's my point. You give me Anderson at 6'3". If he can't get off the line and win that matchup, then shame on us. He's got to do that. So yes, on Green being over there, and I mean we go back to the frustration last week on the Vanderbilt, the series down there after Durham got to the 1, and you had the pick that was offsides. And then on the crucial second down play, you ran the same 2-point play in which Trudez motioned out wide and came back on the slant, and they bumped it off because they knew that was coming. And so, okay, you've run the plays to Trudez now. If they're going to overplay it, You've got to win the man-to-man matchup. Aaron Anderson's fantastic in getting off a jam and winning a slant route.
Well, isn't that why Nussmeier ran on that play? Because they got 4-on-4 on one side, they got 2-on-1 on the other side. You got 5-on-5 in the middle. The middle is
right.
Isn't that the play? I don't know if Nussmeier's got two good wheels under him right now, but isn't that the play? If you got 5-on-5 in that middle, the quarterback's
right. I mean, they tried to do that and lost 2 yards today.
I know.
I mean, that's
it's the right read, but you can't execute the play.
Look, the ball's, I'm running. I'm going to put two guys. I'm going to put Anderson and the two Andersons together and just run a pick play. If you can't win that One's going to run the corner. One's going to run the slant. You got to be able to win that. The middle of the football field is wide open.
499-9898 is the number to call on the Hooters hotline. We'll take a break. A&M wins it tonight, 49-20. I can't even believe it myself. 49-25. Eagle 98.1 Game Day.
My father, J.B. Falgout, had a vision of growth for First American Bank and the communities we serve. The bank's foundation was built on his legacy of compassion, loyalty, and dedication. Through his years of leadership, First American has prospered to heights even J.B. could not have imagined. I know my father would be extremely proud of the customer service and financial stability that First American provides to Southeast Louisiana. We continue to thrive because of the legacy of J.B. Falgout.
BRAC teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered gold. BRAC, your #1 park system in the nation.
These ice cubes could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they cradle and cool the crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Nicely done, ice cubes.
Need security services you can count on? With Veteran Security Services, you're always protected. Locally owned and proudly serving the Gulf Coast, they're not some big national firm chasing profits. They're neighbors protecting neighbors. From petrochemical plants and healthcare facilities to port and maritime operations, Veteran Security delivers reliable protection you can trust. Choose community. Choose confidence. Choose Veteran Security Services. Visit veteransecurityfirm.com.
Mornings with Brian Haldane is the only live and local talk show in the capital city. Get the news from the newsmakers, along with traffic and weather updates throughout the morning. The conversation starts weekday mornings at 6 on Talk 107.3.
Trust isn't given, it's earned by showing up, leading the way, and performing at your best when it matters most. Our Lady of the Lake sports medicine experts know what it takes to improve performance and build champions at every level. That's why LSU chose Our Lady of the Lake as its championship health partner, trusting Louisiana's best medical team to care for our state's best athletes. From championship athletes to everyday champions, trusted care starts here.
I trust the lake.
After a decade of working in private duty nursing, I know how hard it can be to find compassionate care for the ones that you love the most. So I started Decision Critical, a premier concierge nursing agency, so we can take care of you wherever you are. Our highly skilled nurses provide exceptional care from the comfort of your own home, with personalized packages for short-term, long-term, or even around-the-clock care. Visit us at decisioncriticalbr.com and give us a call today to get started.
In South Louisiana, you can always count on good people coming together to help our children.
At Dreams Come True, we grant wishes for Louisiana children with life-threatening illnesses. But to do this, we need funds.
That's why we're trying to raise $100,000 for Dreams Come True by giving away the Blessed Builders School.
Make your backyard's dream come true while helping our kids.
Just go to dreampoolla.com and you can find out how your $25 donation might help win you a Duplessis pool.
When it comes to choosing energy for your family and your home, make the smart choice with natural gas. You can count on efficient and affordable natural gas to keep you comfortable and reduce your environmental impact to help protect our planet. Together, we're fueling our energy future. Atmos Energy.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this.
98.1.
A&M wins tonight 49-25, 499-9898 on the Hooters hotline. Chris is in New Orleans. Chris, welcome into the show.
Morning, gentlemen. I would say good morning, but it's 24 minutes past midnight after a butt whooping.
We watched. Okay.
Good call, Chris.
Coach says we got a butt whooping. Jeff is in Baton Rouge. Jeff, welcome in the show. Jeff?
Hey guys.
Yep. Go
Can
ahead.
you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead. Yes, go ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey guys. Hey Charlie. I am as LSU sunshine pumper as it comes. We all went into tonight kind of wondering, where does this program go? I mean, is there a chance BK gets fired this year? I think we all thought no. We all went into tonight wondering, where does this program go after the first loss to Vanderbilt in 30-plus years? We all watched the game tonight. It was surprisingly, everyone's complaining about the offense. I've been complaining about the offense. Surprisingly tonight, it was all three phases, not just offense, not just defense, special teams as well. And
I'm used to having Tito's and water right in front of us at walk-ons.
Jeff, you're right. Look, there's nothing. Nothing went well tonight. Right now, there's not a single thing that this LSU football team does well. Not a single thing. Over the last 4 weeks, you got a win against South Carolina and 3 losses. Okay, you have not played well offensively. You've not run the football except in little spots. Okay, your quarterback's been all over the place. Okay, something's not right. He's getting the crap beat out of him for one thing.
No question.
Okay, because the offensive line is horrendous. The offensive line coach we've been talking about all year. That offensive line is poorly coached. It's not even really my opinion. You can watch. We do the film study every week. You can watch this. You got guys turn sideways. You got guys taking terrible steps. You got bad hand placement. The whole thing, real bad. Okay. Right now, at the first half of the season, you thought, well, defensively, you're pretty sound. You're not sound defensively right now. Your gap integrity on quarterback runs is horrendous. Okay, you got some very good individual players in there.
Yeah.
Delane is an excellent player. Halsey is an excellent player. Gooden is an excellent player. But as far as the defensive group, you've allowed 80 points the last 2 weeks. You've forced 3 punts. The defense, the defense is solid. The defense is good. The defense is elite. No, it's not. It's terrible right now. It's terrible, and the offense is terrible. And tonight, the special teams, as if not to be left out, was terrible also. Okay. The coaching's been terrible. The execution's been terrible. How many ways do you want me to say it? Okay, absolutely horse crap the whole way. And you have to figure out how you're going to fix this. And like I said in the open, might have gotten lost, but there's no quick fix. There's no easy fix this year. Okay, there's nothing that Brian Kelly can do to win back the fan base in the last 4 games. You can get up, you can fire a coordinator tomorrow if it makes you feel better. You can fire an offensive line coach if it makes you feel better. But the changes you need to make have to be done in the offseason or for the offseason to really change it. And Gordy's right in that you can turn it around very quickly if you make the right moves, okay, in an offseason. You can make big changes, okay? Are those big changes going to come? I don't know. But they have to do something. They collapsed last year, and they have collapsed this year. You don't get to collapse 3 years in a row. You just don't. You don't get that opportunity anymore. It's not 1995. So that's sort of my take on it. Where we at? Bo is in Prairieville. Bo, welcome to the show.
Hey, how y'all doing?
Good.
You said earlier on the pregame show you were in the 88 Miami game, right?
I was, yeah.
Yes. I was in the West, and it sucked, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I've gone through the suck in the 80s and 90s, and 2000s came, and Saban came, whatever, blah blah blah. I'm not here fire the coach or whatever. All I'm saying is what as a coach, your job is to put your players in like competitive advantageous situations to win a play, right?
Yeah.
We're not doing that, and I don't.
I think the interesting thing for me, we were talking about this during the break, is that I think back to Brian Kelly. I'm old, right? So I remember him at Central Michigan. We're both old, and we've been doing this a long time.
Thanks for
that. Central Michigan, and then Cincinnati, and then at Notre Dame, and then I see him up close and personal. He beat LSU in 2 of those games. I was at the one in Nashville and then the one in Orlando, and what I remember about those teams, a lot of 12 personnel. They were really physical, and they were based off running the ball, and then was it Ian Book or Ian Book, whatever the guy that wound up being on the Saints roster, came back and won that other game, and my question is, at what point is what we're doing right now, to me, was never part of his DNA, and Jaden Daniels was a game changer and gave you the run game because he was a freak of nature and he's a dual threat quarterback. I understand the game has evolved. But to be outside the top 100 in rushing, you cannot win in this conference without being balanced at best. And I get Nussmeier's got a hose and all the stuff with that, but everybody's got dudes on defenses. This guy now for 2 years has taken a beating, and that, I think that's the part that you watch the first half and you're like, okay, you run for 2 backs ran for 86 yards. You were able to take a couple shots down the field. This was more like it. And my question in the third quarter, what happened to that play sheet? Harlem Berry had 1 carry in the third quarter. He was averaging 7 yards in the first half.
Sloan has never called plays with any kind of rhythm. This is a 2-year experiment now, and there has never been – when Richard does the show, he talks about he never get hot. He could never get into that flow, never get into that rhythm. It just does not seem like there's any continuity to it at all, and that's frustrating, and it's got to be fixed in some kind of way. By the way, that 88 team won the conference.
I was on the 88 team.
The one that won the conference.
Right.
Miami was on another level at that time.
Different level. Steve Walsh, it was Russell, Maryland, and my favorite memory is that Ruffin Rodriguez got quoted in the USA Today, quote of the day, saying, I thought we dominated the line of scrimmage. And we lost 42-3.
God bless in the monsoon. No, that Miami team, without looking, I'm going to say had 40 pros on it.
They were good.
They were good. They had pros on the bench that were freshmen.
And I think we had won the SEC that year. We beat Alabama, and that was a game. We played them in Tulane at the end, and we were already won. And no excuse. We got our ass kicked.
The LSU tied for the conference. They didn't go to Sugar Bowl because they tied with, I think it was Auburn. But no, they did win share the conference that year. 499-9898 is the number. Turbo is in Tampa. Turbo, welcome into the show.
Hey, first off, thank you guys for everything that you do. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
So, as a coaching staff, though, obviously I think Kelly's here for a while. What do you do to fix it? You guys obviously mentioned you hit the portal, you could have a 1-year turnaround like Kelly's first year. But just from y'all's expertise, when you go into the office on Monday, how do you overcome a season like this and, make sure you can keep the players interested and keep them coming back for next year and rebound? Just honestly, how do you go about rebounding from such a disappointing season?
All right, so let me, in as simple a language as I can put it, yes, there will be changes, okay? At the maybe before the end of the season, but certainly at the end of the season, there are going to be changes. First of all, even in successful seasons, you don't carry the same staff to the next year. So there are going to be changes on this staff. Everybody wants to know the question that I can't answer. Are they going to fire the head coach? I don't know. I really don't know. I've laid it out. You've got a vacant president's chair that may be rectified by the time we do this show next week. I mean, Wednesday is sort of an important day over there. And then, what role does the athletic director play in these changes? Okay, and I can't answer that either. I can tell you what the buyout is, and I can tell you what the landscape is. But are there going to be changes? Of course. there are going to be changes. They're not going to sit here and put $20 million into a roster and have it go to the Cheez-It Bowl and not make any changes. Come on. But I can't tell you if they're going to come tomorrow, next week, or at the end of the regular season. But yes, a change is going to come. I know everybody wants to know, is the big change going to come at the top? I can't answer that. I could lie to you, but I'm not going to do that.
The reality, you look at Penn State. I mean, would have guessed Penn State at the beginning of the year would have made a change. And, of course, that's the thing. You go back to what's the cost of not making a change? What's the cost of doing that? And obviously, Penn State, they felt like they had to make that change. But I would have never guessed that.
No, it happened in a 15-day period. Yeah. They went from top 3 in the country, I think they were number 2 actually, to fired in 15 days, which was remarkable. Do you think that changes the landscape? Do you think it changes other athletic directors' line of thinking?
And I'm not living in that space to know the finances of it. And I think that's what's new, right?
Yeah.
And you have to raise so much money to meet your rev share. And then what is all your, are you able to look at Texas Tech? We're watching Texas Tech just throttle people. Nobody's got more money than Texas Tech right now.
Yeah, they've got their friendly neighborhood billionaire that is bound to determine that they're going to win.
Yeah, it's funny, that thing. And I think that's the hard thing. You're asking that question. What's the price of losing right now? What's the price of losing? And is it just snowball? Is it better to do James Frank, what they did with James Frank? And obviously people at Penn State felt that they had to do it at that point.
Because when you go back out fundraising, there is donor fatigue out there. And you go back and say, I want you to give money. And they're going to say, what for?
Right.
Okay. Am I giving money to get players on a roster? Because you went and did that last year. Okay. I mean, they passed the hat pretty good last December and they got what they wanted. And then they put this out.
Yep.
Well, the next time you go back and ask for that, it ain't as easy to get. 499-9898 is the number to call. Clark is in Baton Rouge. Clark, welcome into the show.
Hey, Charlie. As much as I would love to call in and make jokes about Tommy Banks, I really want to know is this the lowest point? Because you've been doing this a lot longer than I have. This feels like a low point for LSU football. I'll hang up and listen.
Yeah, not even close.
We've been through some.
Not even close.
God, we've been through some years.
Rock bottom. Curly Hallman was rock bottom.
Yeah.
2-9 was rock bottom. 1 SEC win was rock bottom. 58-3 in Tiger Stadium was rock bottom. This is not that. 1998 was particularly difficult because they went into that season with high expectations, were ranked in the top 6 in the country, and then the bottom fell out. That was pretty bad. In 99, DiNardo kind of lost him a little bit.
And all of that, and I'd go back to nobody's going 3-9 anymore. I think there's enough parity now, and that you don't see those years. And I keep going back to you can be a Signetti and bring somebody in like that and flip the script very quickly, or I keep talking about Venables. I know that they've lost 2 games, but they were 6-6 a year ago, and they bring in Jim Nagy. They get a new roster, they get a quarterback, and all of a sudden they're competing. Now we'll see how the rest of the year plays out with that. That's the first example that comes to mind. My thing is with the transfer portal, with the rev share now, you do have the opportunity of flipping the script. And he brought in a new offensive coordinator, quarterback from Washington State, and we saw them here in Tiger Stadium last year, and they were a train wreck at the end of the year, went 6-6.
You know what I think it does do? Every coaching search I've been a part of, the idea has been, hey, listen, go out and try to get a coach that you think can last 15 years, okay? And that now I think is fool's goal, okay? You are now, you're playing for next year. Okay, you're not even playing for 3 years. Hypothetically, 5 years from now, how many coaches that are at their current school in the Southeastern Conference will be there in 5 years? Out of 16,
it'll be less than it usually. I'm with you. There'll be more
out of 16. What would you say?
Well, I don't know. Probably.
I would say 4.
6. Yeah.
I mean, I can't tell you how quickly this stuff changes. And it changes your thoughts on a guy like Signetti who's in his 60s, okay? But they brought him in. It's like, look, man, I'm not hiring Signetti to be here in 2037. I need a guy that wins now. I think about a guy like Willie Fritz, who has won everywhere. he's been.
7-1, won again today.
But he's 65 years old, and so it's like, well, do you want to bring him in? Hell yes.
And so, but you come back to this discussion,
Fritz.
right?
I'm not saying that they're going to hire Willie Fritz. I'm saying you can hire a coach who's a little bit older if they're still at that, at that level. I mean, you're not hiring a coach for 15 years anymore. I'm
Cignetti, I don't leave Indiana. Big Ten.
And he just got the new contract, so
Big Ten.
Big
Ten's got is an easier landscape to navigate and what have you. To the point, does Willie Fritz leave Houston? I mean, you've got all the resources you want in that conference to go where, to Arkansas, right? Matt Rule goes somewhere to go to Nebraska, or do you stay at Houston? It's John Summerall discussion. I mean, what's the right? I'm John Summerall. I'm not going to Kentucky if it opens. I'm not going to Arkansas. I stay at Tulane and get, because of what you said. Somebody's got to lose in the SEC. They're going to play non-conference games next year.
Summerall's a very good coach, by the way.
Oh, excellent. He's fantastic.
Great
guy,
I'm a fan. Stephen is in Crowley. Stephen, welcome into the show. Hooters Hotline. Stephen. I'm sorry. Skipper. Zach is in Shreveport. Zach, welcome into the show.
Hey, Charles. How are you doing?
All right.
I was calling because I wanted to talk more about the cost of not doing the buyout and the effect that could have on LSU. It seems to me, you saw the images of basically the grave dancing after that game with A&M, and I imagine there could be more to follow. The image that you take from that, if you continue to lose, how much does that play into not buying out BK? But also, when you factor in, I think it's inevitable that the offensive staff is going to be gone, or at least Sloan and Davis for sure. I think most people would agree with that. But are you going to go out and invest, to get a big name OC and big name, a high dollar offensive line coach? Who's going to take that, knowing that BK could be gone the next year? So, your options seem like are going to be pretty limited. Maybe you can strike gold with an up and coming kind of guy, but if you stay with BK, it seems like the option is you're going to have to tie his, one hand behind his back with the options you're going to give him. So I kind of, what are your thoughts on that?
It's a reasonable concern because I can tell you how you get somebody under those circumstances. You pay them a lot of money, and you pay them a lot of guaranteed money,
right? Which
means you're digging the financial hole a little bit deeper. But if you did make a coordinator change or multiple coordinator changes, you end up giving them a 3-year contract, and you guarantee a lot of money, and that's how you get them here. But if it doesn't work, you've dug that hole a little bit deeper.
Well, it's a best example. That's Blake Baker. I mean, you go get Blake Baker from Missouri. You pay him a lot of money, and Blake Baker takes that job. And if he has a great run, then he's in play for whatever that next step, maybe head coach somewhere, right? If he wants to do that. So I mean, the risk. We're talking about the turnover with head coaches in the SEC. Going to be, we feel like it's going to be quicker, tenures and what have you. Same could be said with coordinators. Right? I mean, you take those, what you sign up for, right? I mean, you leave Missouri to go to LSU in hopes of taking that next step.
The turnover is bigger, and the contracts are longer, and they're more guaranteed.
Yeah, no doubt.
Okay.
And so and that's this industry, and the holes get bigger and bigger now, and so the risk reward for you is what? Okay, if it doesn't work, I'm going to get paid a lot of money. See James Franklin.
Yeah, and you know who wins in all this?
Agents.
Jimmy Sexton.
Oh, Jimmy Sexton.
Jimmy Sexton. It's Jimmy Sexton's world.
Jimmy Sexton and Trace Armstrong.
499-9890 is the number on the Hooters hotline. We'll take a break. Eagle 98.1 Game Day.
When it comes to pipe fabrication, time is money. And at River Parish Contractors, we make every second count. Our 36,000 square foot shop is ready to take on your projects right now. With experienced welders, precise fittings, and fast turnarounds you can trust. Whether it's a single custom spool or a full-scale run, we have the capacity and the skill to keep your job on schedule. Call us or visit rpcontractors.com for your quote. That's rpcontractors.com.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they've been called upon to cradle and cool a crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Looks like the lucky just got luckier. Dos Equis.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
ED, low T, or simply seeking to optimize your health and performance? Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness offers a range of discreet services to address your specific needs. We empower men to reclaim their health and confidence. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
Raising Cane's is our victory meal.
Football fans are some of the most dedicated fans in sports. It's a fundamental quality we share, and that fuels every single order of our hand-battered chicken fingers. Wherever there's football, there's Raising Cane's.
One love. Let's go.
In South Louisiana, you can always count on good people coming together to help our children.
At Dreams Come True, we grant wishes for Louisiana children with life-threatening illnesses. But to do this, we need funds.
That's why we're trying to raise $100,000 for Dreams Come True by giving away the Blessed Builders Pool.
Make your backyard's dream come true while helping our kids.
Just go to dreampoolla.com and you can find out how your $25 donation might help win you a Duplessis pool.
Flight by Yingling is raising the bar by crafting the next generation of light beer. With only 2.6 carbs and 95 calories, this is premium refreshment 6 generations in the making. Flight by Yingling. Raise the bar.
Hi, this is Beth Serena. Welcome to my pool. The first time I saw this beautiful pool, it exceeded every expectation that I had. They were able to get everything we wanted in this pool. It is a beautiful pool. We live out here, we eat out here, we watch TV out here. This is like our living room outside. We love this pool and everything about it. When we decided to build our pool, we called a great friend who is one of the best pool builders in the country in North Louisiana, and we said, who would you choose to build a pool in Baton Rouge? And without a hesitation, he told us Russell Pools. He said their history, tradition of great builds, great pools was unmatched. So of course, who did we call? Russell Pools. The advice I would give to anyone looking to build a pool is first call Russell Pools. They'll do an incredible job. It'll be incredibly organized. It'll be time efficient.
98.1.
Eagle 98.1 Game Day continues. 499-9898 is the number to call. Hooters Hotline. Max is in Baton Rouge. Max, welcome to the show.
Hey, guys. How's it going?
All right.
Has anyone asked about BK and the buyout? I don't want to be repetitive.
Yeah, it's come up. But nice.
No, but I have 2 points, and I'll make them quick. I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts on the actual game. First, one of the callers said, what does BK have to do to make sure the team doesn't quit? I got tough news for you, buddy. They quit with about 10 minutes left in the third quarter. It was clear to anyone watching. I think this is kind of a symptom of the NIL era, but there was a whole lot of guys playing who did not care, at least for the entire fourth quarter. You could see it in the tackling. You could see it in the effort. I mean, it was miserable. Secondly, is there anyone who's ever skated more on one good game than Harold Perkins? I mean, that Arkansas game is the best PR guy anyone could have because he's just not very good at football. I mean, we're year 4 now, and Kirk Herbstreit talks about him every game, and everyone says how fast he is, but he takes terrible angles. His eyes are always in the wrong spot. He's always in the wrong spot. He misses tackles. His effort is terrible. Between him and Nuss, I'm hoping if there's one bright spot from this season, that the 7 and 18 tradition will finally be killed because it's just miserable to watch him play. And it's even worse to constantly be told how good he is when I have 4 years of different tape. in the back of my head. But anyway, tough night. But yeah. Anyway, love to hear what you guys think.
Thanks, Max. Appreciate the call.
What's fascinating to me is where's Harold Perkins playing in the NFL? And, and you see what I saw last week is by playing him in that star position, the easiest thing I can do is make him – I'm going to put him in coverage. I want to get him out of the tackle box. Obviously, we know where he's most effective. And then you put him on a line of scrimmage and he rushes, right? And they don't need him with the defensive ends and what Billy Baker does, and that's why they made him a star and what have you. And we knew he was too light to play that linebacker. He reminds me of who was 9 for Clemson in 2019, Simmons.
Yeah,
and he wound up going to Phoenix, and Arizona Cardinals couldn't find a place for him on the football field.
That's
the same thing. Yeah. That's the same thing, and there's ways to, inside out. You get him in space, he looks comfortable. And the last couple of weeks, people have put big bodies on him.
I think I agree with the caller. He's played more bad football than good in the last. Let me put a timetable on it. I would say at least the last month.
Yeah.
Okay, there's been more bad than good. He's been out of position. He has loafed. We've seen it on the film. What would I do with him at the next level? In a perfect world, he looks like Jamal Adams did that first year in Seattle, where Adams had like 8 sacks out of basically playing a strong safety in the box, but his coverage was minimal, but he was rushing all the time. He was coming from some different angles. Perkins is still capable of playing really good football, and I agree with you that he has played more bad football than good in the last 5-6 weeks, but I disagree with you that he's skating on just one game, the Arkansas game. He was really good that year against Ole Miss.
He was good against Clemson.
He was good against Clemson.
Yeah.
The play that he makes to finish the Clemson game, he comes from across the field and closes on it. Klubnik couldn't have been more surprised to see Perkins where he ended up to take him down to essentially end the game if they had dropped him out of a helicopter. So he's capable of that. But is he playing good football right now? No. I think that there's been more bad than good in the last, like I said, 4 to 6 weeks. Ryan is in New Orleans on the Hooters hotline. Ryan, welcome into the show. Ryan? We lose Ryan. Okay. Let's try Lance in Baton Rouge. Lance, welcome into the show.
How's it going, guys?
Good.
Hey, love your show, Charlie. Look forward every week to watching y'all's film breakdown with you and Richard, and I'm glad you have Gordy on tonight. Mine's a little bit of a different question, and I was at LSU from 91 to 94, which were god-awful years under Hallman. It's really about you guys see and get to talk to the players. What is kind of their mental disposition? I know during Miles and Saban, those guys were tough. They were mentally tough guys. Even if we didn't like the offense that we were running under Miles, those guys were tough as nails. I was on the sideline at the Vandy game last weekend. I didn't see that. I didn't see that same kind of toughness in the guys when they were struggling against Vandy. And I just want to get y'all's perspective on what you see.
All right, Lance, thank you for the call. Gordy, you're on the sideline.
Well, I mean, I went out and said I thought Vanderbilt out physical LSU.
Yeah. And
I thought LSU matched A&M's physicality in the first half, and nowhere close to it in the second half.
Right.
And we talked about the example, and not because he was here, but what Tommy Moffitt's done with Mike Elko. I mean, we remember Jimbo Fisher, those teams. It was the last one, 51-7 was the 2021 game. Yay. They have an identity. I mean, and I say that all the August talks that I do, what you're going to get with Texas A&M. They're going to be physical. They brought Colin Klein in. It was a Bill Snyder Snyder era quarterback or that scheme, and he's a spread the run guy. And I thought he made a great adjustment after Reed made 2 interceptions. Guess what? You're not going to beat me throwing the football.
Yeah,
Reed. We're going to spread it, run it, and make you defend the whole sideline. That's what they did the first drive, and they just rolled from there.
Speaking of physicality, I did grossly underestimate how much this game meant to Tommy Moffitt and how much the players rallied around that as a motivation. Reed told a story in postgame about how Moffitt came in with Kelly's picture on the tackling dummy.
Oh, I didn't hear that
on
Thursday.
Thursday.
LSU stuff, did he?
Yeah. They said they hit him with the Gatorade after the thing. Okay. We know Tommy Moffitt very well. Okay. He worked in this building for a little while after he left LSU. So we know him, and he is as tough as they come. He's excellent at what he does, and he's been around for a long time. And he took it personal.
2 years ago
when he got let go here.
Last summer,
and I understand why.
Summer before, all my kids run track, so the Junior Olympics were in College Station.
Mm-hmm.
And by the way, Pat Henry hated they were in College Station, and his whole track staff left. But it's a long drawn out thing. I spent a half day over with Tommy, and actually Brandon LaFell was there, and he got some of the guys that were with him here. And you just know who he was and what he was building over there in College Station with those facilities. And, remember what Duke was with Mike Elko. I mean, Duke was never the most physical team.
No.
I mean, Duke, took Notre Dame down to the wire, and they were outstanding at Duke. And so you knew what was going to happen over there. And anybody that knows Tommy, he's going to take the high road and be classy about it. But he wasn't retained when Coach Kelly came in here, and sure this game was going to mean something.
499-9898 is the number to call. Tom is in Baton Rouge. Tom, welcome into the show.
Yeah, am I live?
Go ahead, Tom. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember the days when LSU had a good ball team. I'm talking about Patrick Pearson. I'm talking about DJ Welter. And, these days, LSU has become a laughing stock of the country. They're calling us LSU. I heard several people walking around campus calling us LSU, meaning Lost State University. And I'm just wondering when we're going to quit getting our ass beat by A&M.
They lost the football game, man. They were – call them whatever you want. A&M gets to – they're the victor today. They won the game last year. They won the game this year. I'm not going to get into the whole history of this thing, but – if I wanted to, I could sit here and rattle off championship after championship that LSU has won, and that trophy case is pretty empty in College Station. They won the game. They may win the whole thing. Okay, probably not, but they could. They're good. They're going to be in the playoff.
Sure.
And LSU's not, so they get to enjoy that. They've earned that, and they're good. But listen, it's not like it's ancient history when LSU was winning. They were in the SEC championship game in 22. They won the national championship in 19. Okay, so let's not act like, oh my gosh, it's been eons since LSU won. No, come on, I mean, let's be fair.
I keep going. Heck, I wish we'd have the mic on during our breaks because we get a chance to get caught up and talk.
Yeah.
I don't get chances to see you, but Texas was really good in the playoff and whatever, and they're not going to be close. I don't think you're going to see these runs, and I don't think LSU fans want to hear this, where you're going to go 10-2, 10-2, and make the playoffs 3 back-to-back years. I think, again, you've got 9 blue bloods in here with Texas and Oklahoma in this, and you're going to have people moving in and out more. There's more parity in this thing, and it's going to be more like the NFL, I think, And yeah, maybe you're not going to get a franchise quarterback like Mahomes, but you have more people in and out of the playoffs. I just see it going forward being that way.
And I think the 12-team playoff is, along with that parity, is going to get more coaches fired. Expectations get coaches fired. I think this is going to get more coaches fired. I had a good friend of mine tell me this at the beginning of the season, and I didn't believe him. And he said, what I think is going to happen is of the top half of the Power 4 program. So let's say the top 30 to 35 schools in the country. The top half of the Power 4 conferences will either make a playoff every second year or they will fire the coach. In other words, nobody gets to go 3 years without making a pro. Now, we're not talking about the Iowa States of the world. We're talking about the Penn States.
Right.
We're not talking about the Mississippi States. We're talking about Auburn. We're talking about LSU. We're talking about USC. Those that 30 programs or so that are like, hey, you got 2 years to make the playoff. If you don't make it for 2 consecutive years, we're going to move on.
Yeah, look,
and that's closer to being
it's going to be true.
It's
going to be true. And you know what's different about the college football, the NFL, and still, I think there's going to be a bigger gap in perception and reality. You know, perception at LSU is 10-2 is the bottom every year, right? The reality is the SEC's wins are going to be probably 8-4 is going to be the median thing, and that doesn't float in LSU's water, in Texas's water, in Florida's water. I mean, you know, talk about Auburn. Auburn's got a lot of pride in that damn program. Since they fired Gus Malzahn, they haven't sniffed it, and you know they're not settling for 8-4, and they're going to continue to. We'll see what they do. Continue to move with that. I think to your point, I think it's going to get more people fired, and it's where this thing lives now.
And if it's not that way right now, when they reconfigure the playoff for 16 teams and you get 1 or 2 9-3 teams get in every year, maybe even more than that, you're really going to ratchet it up. If it's not that way right now, it will be when that happens. 499-9898 is the number to call. We'll take a break. This is Eagle 98.1 Game Day.
Trusted to finish what others start, Wesley Construction. Learn more at wesleyyusa.com or follow us on LinkedIn.
Eagle 98.1 WDGL and AC1 Baton Rouge.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Baton Rouge's home for real rock. It's Eagle 98.1. Foo Fighters. Led Zeppelin. AC/DC. Pearl Jam. And the flagship home for LSU sports. Take us anywhere with the Eagle 98.1 app. Eagle 98.1 is the rock station.
Today, we are shaping tomorrow.
We are researching how extreme stress impacts the immune system, from trauma victims to athletes and even astronauts.
Our work is leading the way in sepsis treatment, saving countless lives.
We're unlocking the mind with music in exciting new ways.
Our Lady of the Lake Health and LSU are improving the health of our state.
That's the impact of champions.
Imagine the impact we'll have on the future. Together, we roar.
Hi, this is Beth Serena. Welcome to my pool. The first time I saw this beautiful pool, it exceeded every expectation that I had. They were able to get everything we wanted in this pool. It is a beautiful pool. We live out here. We eat out here. We watch TV out here. This is like our living room outside. We love this pool and everything about it. When we decided to build our pool, we called a great friend who is one of the best pool builders in the country in North Louisiana, and we said, who would you choose to build a pool in Baton Rouge? And without a hesitation, he told us Russell Pools. He said their history, tradition of great builds, great pools was unmatched. So of course, who did we call? Russell Pools. The advice I would give to anyone looking to build a pool is first call Russell Pools. They'll do an incredible job. It'll be incredibly organized. It'll be time efficient. And you will have your pool in no time.
At Ochsner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Ochsner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Ochsner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Raising Cane's is our victory meal.
Football fans are some of the most dedicated fans in sports. It's a fundamental quality we share, and that fuels every single order of our hand-battered chicken fingers. Wherever there's football, there's Raising Cane's.
One love. Let's go.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972. Service Chevrolet Cadillac. Our family serving your family.
For over 50 years.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief. Our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
98.1.
Eagle 98.1 Game Day continues. A&M a winner tonight in Tiger Stadium. 499-9898 is the number to call in the Hooters hotline. Tom is in Baton Rouge. Tom, welcome into the show. Go ahead, Tom.
Hello?
Yeah, go ahead.
Hey, this is Patrick.
Oh, Patrick. Okay. Patrick, welcome into the show.
All right. I'm just calling to ask a serious question, not to rant, but who actually makes the call if LSU decides to move on from Brian Kelly? Is it the interim president, the athletic director who made the hire, or is it really the billionaire boosters who drove these decisions behind the scenes? Because from the outside looking in, it feels like no one's clearly accountable for this mess. Just want to know where the buck stops. Thank you.
It's an excellent question. Because if you are somebody that's contributing financially to this, you want to say. I mean, I would.
More, you heard Saban this morning he went off on, I think maybe McAfee's show yesterday. He said, who's making the decisions here? The guy's putting up the money. He puts up the money. He doesn't have any say. Well, that's not always the case, right? I mean, who's the banker from Auburn over all those years?
Bobby Louder.
Yeah, Bobby Louder.
Yeah. I can tell you, I can give you the chain of command. Okay, the governor appoints the board of supervisors, who hires the president, who hires the athletic director,
right,
who hires the football coach. Okay, that's what it says on the flow chart. Okay, we all know that if you have to buy out somebody for an exorbitant amount of money, and you have to go ask for that money from somewhere else, well, that comes at a price tag. And that's why I said it at the beginning of the show, because I knew what tonight's show was going to be. I mean, I'm not stupid. Right. That it's not insignificant that LSU doesn't have a sitting president right now. Again, by the time we do this show next week, they might. But right this second, they don't.
They're not going to,
And it's a fair question.
They're not going to let an interim president make
No, they're not going to let an interim president make that call. But it's a fair question, okay? It's a fair question and look, we both know Scott Woodward personally, okay? He's done a job with Jay Johnson and Kim Mulkey, and the program's in the black. The program is not in any kind of, well, I guess it's not even a big deal anymore. NCAA trouble, that's all done. But he's hired a football coach and paid him a bunch of money, and it's not working. And he hired a basketball coach, and it's not working out. And he's paying, well, it's a reasonable amount of money for the basketball coach. And the next football coach that comes in here is going to make plenty of money. I can't tell you how much and for how long, but he's going to make plenty of money. And it's a reasonable question to ask. Okay, you missed on the last big two in football and basketball. Or are we going to let you hire the next one?
For me, looking at football, this year's the biggest disappointment, because to me the roster's better than what they performed. I mean, and I'm still digesting the offensive line. And some of it, when I'm still digesting, how much of it is scheme, right? I mean, there's some one-on-one mess, and obviously there's been one-on-one and some things like that. But I think some of it, what they're getting asked to do. That being said, the expectations were playoff or bust, right?
Yeah.
And so not to get to the playoffs is obviously a disappointment. I mean, the first year overperformed that. Daniels wins a Heisman, right? He wins. I say this. The only reason he won a Heisman is because LSU was historically bad on defense. In other words, Nix or Penix wins it, right?
He had to. Yeah.
So he had to put up PlayStation numbers in order to get that. Last year, you're breaking in Nussmeier, and you have a transition at offensive coordinator, and you have that lapse during the year. You rebound and you go, but the idea is you were setting the table for this year. And so obviously this year's disappointing, not making the the playoffs.
We really didn't probably answer your question, but it's a complicated question. Jules is in Abbeville. Jules, welcome into the show.
Hey there, fellas. So what you're telling me, Charlie, is it's all Carlos Temple's fault, right?
Why is it Carlos Temple's fault?
Poor Carlos.
Isn't he on the board of supervisors?
Well, there's a lot of them.
Yeah, I know. I'm just trying to throw some humor.
A little humor. I
Charles.
thank you for a little levity on a night like tonight. Thank you, Jules.
Okay, and not only that, when I was going to LSU in the mid-'70s, A&M rolled into Tiger Stadium under, I think it was Emory Ballard. They were running the bone, and all three running backs ran for over 100 yards.
Yeah, it was 75. They read the score on the broadcast tonight. That was the last time they put a whipping on LSU.
Emory Ballard,
Emory Ballard went to Mississippi State after that. Yeah,
father of the wishbone.
Yep. Games changed more ways than one.
499-9898 is the number. Chad is in New Orleans. Chad, welcome in the show.
Hey, guys, I look back to a couple weeks to tonight. The culmination of Brian Kelly losing this team started at in Ole Miss. And I look back to, late in the fourth, we're driving down the field. Nuss calls a timeout. He chews on Nuss, and Nuss tells him something. And then all of a sudden, he turns, his facial expression changes. When, on TV, you can see this. His facial expression changes. Nuss looks back at his teammates like, what the hell is wrong with this guy? And then he turns around and starts chewing on the coordinator. So something went awry in that play. But when I saw that, I said, man, this isn't good. This guy's losing this team. And the last 2 weeks, you really have seen that. And so I'll sit back and hang up and listen to your response to that.
See, I don't get the TV. I don't get to watch the games on TV.
The visuals are startling. I don't disagree.
Give me some
with
examples.
it.
I haven't.
There are times where Nussmeier will come to the sideline and he and Kelly will have a conversation. There's times where Nussmeier appears to walk by him, turn his head. There are times where Kelly seems to be pretty animated with him.
Okay.
There are times where he seems to be animated with other coaches on the staff. Like I said, tonight they had the split screen with him and Sloan, the special teams coach.
If they're doing a split screen, they know it's been a story then. Okay.
So there's a disconnect.
Right.
I don't think that there's any question. Now, saying you lose the team is a pretty big jump, because the first half I thought they played hard. I thought that they were into it.
No doubt. It was a physical game both ways.
My dumb ass picked them to win this game. Yeah. I'm thinking at halftime, okay, they caught a few breaks here,
right?
But they're in it, okay? So now can you steal one at the end? And then it collapsed.
I'd seen enough of the film that I'd seen of Reed that they were evolving him to be more of a passing quarterback. They had the two great receivers, and he had success with that. And, so I'm thinking, okay, they find a way to keep him bottled up with that, then he throws a couple up there. There are going to be some big plays, but there should be some that go over the way. And that was a great play by Delane on the tip that Perkins, had with that interception. For where I'm still digesting, and it's like, okay, what happened to the physicality that all of a sudden you got out physicaled, and what happened to the play sheet that you used in the first half?
Because you weren't down. You said, well, they were behind the whole time. They were behind one score.
Yeah.
When the running game went out the window. And we used to, you talk about when we started doing this show, when Jimbo was calling the plays.
Yep.
Remember we had the thing with the M&Ms in the jars?
That's right.
He had a jar with a P on it and a jar with an R on it. And every time, he put the M&M in one of the jars, and the jars had to stay balanced. And they just don't.
Harlem Berry was one of the storylines coming out of the first half.
Yeah,
he had good. One touch in the third quarter. He had one touch in the third quarter, the first play.
Yeah, and that's it. And that's it for the rest of the game. The touchdown run, if we could say one positive.
My gosh,
really nice. Goodness, he looked like Le'Veon Bell.
The
patience he was coming down there.
No question.
And then the explosion. That's how Le'Veon Bell used to run when he was in his prime with the Steelers. He was one of the most patient backs I've ever seen, and he could explode after he decided where he was going to make his one cut. And that's what Barry looked like on that play.
I thought Hester talks more than me on the broadcast. He's up in the booth. But you know, he's saying what I'm thinking. I mean, how many times are we going to throw a 30-yard, 3-yard a stop? Everybody's rolling. Everybody knows that Nussmeier is limited stretching the field. That's why I was so happy to see him do it against Barron Brown. Last year, he could stretch the field. The problem was he didn't have anybody could beat anybody off the jam other than Hilton.
Right.
Until Hilton came back. Now everybody's squatting out there, so you're taking. I mean, you've got 3-yard hitch routes that people are contesting. We keep throwing them. I mean, you got one who can beat anybody off the jam that you can run an RPO slant to. To me, that's more high.
You mean in the
percentage.
middle of the field?
In the middle of the field.
Oh, the middle of the field.
Right?
You can throw between the hash marks?
Everybody's playing cover 2, and the safeties are cheating. You know, and it's just, I like what I saw in the first half playbook. What happened? Did you take it?
No, I wasn't there. Not my fault. Chris is in Texas. Chris, welcome in the show. Go ahead, Chris. Nope.
Hey, this is Joey.
Okay, Joey, go ahead.
Man, I got a couple questions. I'm going to start with special teams. I felt like in the past, LSU has always had exceptional special teams because they played guys who were athletic, guys who were 4- or 5-star recruits who just hadn't hit the field yet. Tonight, when they broke that long punt return touchdown, we had 5 or 6 guys on the field look like they were running about 5 flat 40s. I'm going to hang up and listen. But do you guys agree that in the special teams games, you got to have athletes on the field? You can't put guys out there who are 3rd, 4th string dudes and just go off effort. You need dudes out there who can actually run and catch a guy who runs a 4.40. I'm going to go ahead and hang up and listen to your response.
Okay. Would you have Chris Hilton out there?
My only question about Chris Hilton can run. How much defense has he played?
None.
That's my, Deshaun Spears was out there. I mean, usually you have backup DBs and linebackers. I mean, I think that's any level, and it's a 65-yard sprint. And I'd be concerned. My concern right now, your defense has been on the field, at least last week, it was 2-1. But, I mean, technically, that's who you should be. This isn't high school football where all the starters play special teams because you have that much of a drop.
This has been getting worse for about a month now. Going back to the Ole Miss game, South Carolina averaged 22 yards a kickoff return and 7 yards a punt return. Last week it was 30 yards a kickoff return, and I think they returned 1 punt for 17 yards last week. And then this week, 205 total yards in returns. So this problem has been building now for several games.
My thing with the kickoff is you got a guy that, traditionally has kicked the ball out the end zone. And if you can't kick it out of the end zone, hit the sky kick because they put the fair catch and people will take it in the 25.
Why is he
the
not?
thought when they changed the rule was it basically, it was a player safety thing and they were taking the play out. So why do you put it back? That's just my critique, and I'd have to. I mean, I haven't gone through and looked. It hasn't been anything that's jumped at my attention. But, I think Burrell's a guy who kicks it out the end zone. And if you don't have a guy who can kick it out the end zone, then I'm going to hit the sky ball to the up back who's going to fair catch it because that's what he's been taught to do.
I think last year he missed 4.
Yeah.
I mean, everything else was into the end zone. I don't know that LSU had 8 kickoff returns against him the whole year. Why is he not kicking them in the end zone now? Has he hit a couple of balls? I don't have a good answer for that. We'll take a break. This is Eagle 98.1 Game Day.
Raising Cane's is our victory meal.
Football fans are some of the most dedicated fans in sports. It's a fundamental quality we share, and that fuels every single order of our hand-battered chicken fingers. Wherever there's football, there's Raising Cane's.
One love. Let's go.
When it comes to choosing energy for your family and your home, make the smart choice with natural gas. You can count on efficient and affordable natural gas to keep you comfortable and reduce your environmental impact to help protect our planet. Together, we're fueling our energy future. Atmos Energy.
Flight by Yingling is raising the bar by crafting the next generation of light beer. With only 2.6 carbs and 95 calories, this is premium refreshment 6 generations in the making. Flight by Yingling. Raise the bar.
Need security services you can count on?
With Veteran Security Services, you're always protected. Locally owned and proudly serving the Gulf Coast, they're not some big national firm chasing profits. They're neighbors protecting neighbors. From petrochemical plants and healthcare facilities to port and maritime operations, Veteran Security delivers reliable protection you can trust. Choose community. Choose confidence. Choose Veteran Security Services. Visit veteransecurityfirm.com.
While Louisiana politics can seem like they're from another planet, Moon Griffon isn't afraid to bring politicians back down to earth. Listen to the Moon Griffon Show weekday mornings at 9 on Talk 107.3.
It's not just a game, it's a religion. You've got your team colors, team swag, and now your very own website, LouisianaSports.net. Everything LSU, Saints, and Pelicans. Sports on demand. In-depth coverage by sports writing pros with continuously updated news. And with the LouisianaSports.net newsletter, you get pinged directly with top trending stories. Best of all, now and always, no paywall. It's free. LouisianaSports.net, powered by 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Your home for Louisiana sports.
We typically think of stress as being bad for us. At Our Lady of the Lake and LSU, we are researching how certain types of stress, such as exercise, can be good for our immune health. By studying people under extreme stress, such as athletes, astronauts, service members, and first responders, we're learning how to improve the immune health of everyone. That's the power of research. That's the impact of champions. Together, we roar.
In South Louisiana, you can always count on good people coming together to help our children.
At Dreams Come True, we grant wishes for Louisiana children with life-threatening illnesses. But to do this, we need funds.
That's why we're trying to raise $100,000 for Dreams Come True by giving away the Blessed Builder School.
Make your backyard's dream come true while helping our kids.
Just go to dreampoolla.com and you can find out how your $25 donation might help win you a Duplessis pool.
Every winner knows a great play starts with a solid game plan and the right team by your side. At Sunshine, we're here to keep your operation running strong. From tractors to harvesters, we've got the John Deere equipment you need to tackle every job with confidence. Because when the work's done right, there's more time for the things that matter, like cheering on your favorite team. Make Sunshine Quality Solutions part of your playbook this season and learn more about what it means to be powered by Sunshine at sunequip.com.
Parrish Construction and Roofing.
This is Coach Kim Mulkey. Go to parrishbuilt.com for all of your roofing needs.
From your hometown, parrishbuilt.com.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event.
98.1. Eagle 98.1 Game Day. Stat Check. Presented by Luba Workers Comp. Luba Workers Comp. Delivering genuine dependability.
Yardstick wasn't pretty as you might imagine. A&M 24 first downs, LSU 18 first downs. Third total yards, 426 for the Aggies, 278 for the Tigers. 202 passing yards for Texas A&M, 218 for LSU. 224 on the ground for A&M. 40 carries, 5.6 yard average, 60 yards for LSU on 27 carries. And when you consider that the two running backs had 89 or 86 yards rushing in the first half, that tells you just how bad it got. Third down conversions, A&M 7 out of 10, LSU 2 out of 13. They were also 1 out of 2 on fourth down. 6 penalties for the Aggies for 65 yards, including a killer, or at least what at the time was a killer, personal foul penalty that extended an LSU drive. 4 penalties on LSU for 27 yards. Aggies had the only 2 turnovers of the game, and time of possession was almost equal, 12 to 29-48 in favor of Texas A&M. Marcel Reed, 12 of 21 for 202 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 2 picks. Garrett Nussmeier, 22 of 35, 168 yards and a touchdown. Michael Van Buren got in late. He was 3 out of 4 for 50 yards and a touchdown on a great catch by Trey Parker. Trey Parker does South Park, right? Kyle Parker, how about that? Marcel Reed, 13 carries for 108 yards and 2 touchdowns. Ruben Owens, 8 carries for 44 yards. Harlem Berry, 9 carries, 59 yards and a touchdown. Caden Durham, 5 carries for 36 yards on the night for LSU. Ashton Bethel-Roman, 47 yards on his one catch tonight. Casey Concepcion, 3 catches for 45 yards and a touchdown for A&M. Barrion Brown, 4 catches for 60 yards. Aaron Anderson, 5 for 59. Tradius Green, 6 for 54 and a touchdown. And Parker, 3 for 20 and a score. Leading tackler Dalton Brooks for Texas A&M had 6 tackles, including 4 solos. And Texas A&M had 7 sacks on the night. Cassius Howell, who came in leading the Southeastern Conference in sacks, had a pair tonight. LSU was led in tackles by A.J. Halsey, who had 12 tonight. Also had an interception and a pass defense. DeMarcus Cooley and Wes Weeks each had 7 tackles on the night. Punting, Chadwick 7 punts for a 46-yard average. He had 1 inside the 20. Texas A&M punted only 1 time all night. Tyler White with a 52-yard effort, and that is your stat check. Damian Ramos made his only field goal attempt of the night. A&M did not attempt a field goal. Bond made all 7 of his extra points. Ramos did miss 1 of his 3 extra points, and that is your stat check on the night. Also, again, 205 yards in return yards for Texas A&M. LSU actually did some decent things with the kickoff returns tonight with 69 yards worth, but actually, no, that sucked. They were the longest one was 20. No, that was bad too. See, I'm trying to find something good and I'm having a hard time. We'll take a break, come back with more Eagle 98.1 Game Day.
These ice cubes could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they cradle and cool the crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Nicely done, ice cubes.
When it comes to pipe fabrication, time is money. And at River Parish Contractors, we make every second count. Our 36,000 square foot shop is ready to take on your projects right now. With experienced welders, precise fittings, and fast turnarounds you can trust. Whether it's a single custom spool or a full-scale run, we have the capacity and the skill to keep your job on schedule. Call us or visit rpcontractors.com for your quote. That's rpcontractors.com.
After a decade of working in private duty nursing, I know how hard it can be to find compassionate care for the ones that you love the most. So I started Decision Critical, a premier concierge nursing agency, so we can take care of you wherever you are. Our highly skilled nurses provide exceptional care from the comfort of your own home with personalized packages for short-term, long-term, or even around-the-clock care. Visit us at decisioncriticalbr.com and give us a call today to get started.
Men, age is just a number. Don't let it dictate how you feel. Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness has anti-aging services that can help you look and feel your best. Visit yourgoodwood.com and discover a renewed sense of vitality.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
Trust isn't given, it's earned by showing up, leading the way, and performing at your best when it matters most. Our Lady of the Lake sports medicine experts know what it takes to improve performance and build champions at every level. That's why LSU chose Our Lady of the Lake as its championship health partner, trusting Louisiana's best medical team to care for our state's best athletes. From championship athletes to everyday champions, trusted care starts here.
I trust the lake.
Mornings with Brian Haldane is the only live and local talk show in the capital city. Get the news from the newsmakers, along with traffic and weather updates throughout the morning. The conversation starts weekday mornings at 6 on Talk 107.3.
Hi, this is Beth Serena. Welcome to my pool. The The first time I saw this beautiful pool, it exceeded every expectation that I had. They were able to get everything we wanted in this pool. It is a beautiful pool. We live out here. We eat out here. We watch TV out here. This is like our living room outside. We love this pool and everything about it. When we decided to build our pool, we called a great friend who is one of the best pool builders in the country in North Louisiana, and we said, who would you choose to build a pool in Baton Rouge? And without a hesitation, he told us Russell Pools. He said their history, tradition of great builds, great pools was unmatched. So of course, who did we call? Russell Pools. The advice I would give to anyone looking to build a pool is first call Russell Pools. They'll do an incredible job. It'll be incredibly organized. It'll be time efficient, and you will have your pool.
98.1. Eagle 98.1 Game Day. The Robinson Brothers Ford Lincoln College Football Scoreboard. Robinson Brothers Ford Lincoln on airline under the giant American flag.
Go up to the top of the top 25. Ohio State was off today. Number 2, Indiana beat UCLA 56-6. Fernando Mendoza, 3 touchdown passes for the Hoosiers, 8-0 now on the season. Number 4, Alabama rallied late to beat South Carolina 29-22. Ty Simpson threw a couple of touchdown passes for Alabama. They scored with under a minute to go for the winning margin. Number 6, Oregon struggled offensively today, but beat Wisconsin 21-7. Wisconsin scored in the fourth quarter. It had been 11 quarters since they had scored, period, and it had been 14 quarters since they had scored a touchdown. Tough times for the Badgers, 2-6. Number 7, Georgia Tech goes to 8-0. They beat Syracuse 41-16. Haynes King accounted for 5 touchdowns today, 3 in the air and 2 on the ground. Number 8, Ole Miss scored the last 9 points of the game and beat number 13, Oklahoma, 34-26. Trinidad Chambliss threw for 315 yards and a touchdown. Ole Miss in very good position to make the college football playoff. They make the playoff. A&M makes the playoff. LSU doesn't make the playoff. Bad times, man. Bad times. Number 9, Miami beat Stanford 42-7. This game was tied at 7 at the half. Miami dominated the second half en route to that win. Number 10, Vanderbilt beat number 15, Missouri 17-10. In this game, Bo Przybilla left for Missouri. He had an injury. They carted him off the field. He had an air cast on. He went in a wheelchair back to the locker room, and Eli Drinkwitz said that he will be out for quite a while. So Mizzou is 6-2, but they will be without their starting quarterback the rest of the way. True freshman Matt Zollers, who started as a third-string quarterback this year, kind of actually did okay. He threw for 138 yards and a touchdown in his time today. Number 11, BYU beat Iowa State 41-27. This game was a 7-point lead for Iowa State at the half, and BYU blew them out in the second half, 24-3. Cougars now 8-0 on the season. Number 14, Texas Tech beat Oklahoma State 42-0. Texas Tech now 7-1 on the season. Oklahoma State trying to get to the finish line. They are 1-7. Number 16, Virginia beat North Carolina 17-16 in overtime. In the OT, Virginia went first. They scored a touchdown. North Carolina scored a touchdown, went for 2, and missed. Number 17, Tennessee, in a high-scoring game, beat Kentucky 56-34. Joey Aguilar threw 396 yards and 3 touchdowns. Memphis beat number 18, South Florida, 34-31. South Florida had a 2-touchdown lead going into the fourth quarter. Number 19, Louisville beat Boston College 38-24. Number 21, Cincinnati beat Baylor 41-20. Dave Aranda's team falls to 4-4. Cincinnati 5-0 in Big 12 play and 7-1 overall. Number 22, Texas, another big fourth quarter rally. They beat Mississippi State 45-38 in overtime. Texas outscored the Bulldogs 24-7 in the fourth quarter. Arch Manning left with an injury. Backup quarterback threw the winning touchdown pass. Washington beat number 23, Illinois 42-25. Desmond Williams threw 4 touchdown passes for the Huskies. Houston goes to 7-1. They beat number 24, Arizona State 24-16. Number 25, Michigan beats Michigan State 31-20. Nebraska over Northwestern 28-21. Rutgers over Purdue 27-24. Wake Forest edged SMU 13-12 on a late field goal. Kansas State beat Kansas 42-17. K-State's won 17 straight in the Sunflower Showdown. Old Dominion beat App State 24-21. Kent State beat Bowling Green by the same score. Ohio beat Eastern Michigan 28-21. Another fourth quarter rally. This one for Auburn. They outscored Arkansas 17-0 in the fourth quarter en route to their 33-24 win over Arkansas. Also in this game, Auburn bench starting quarterback Jackson Arnold at the half, and the backup rallied them for the victory. Akron beat Buffalo 24-16. The other thing about that Arkansas-Auburn game, Arkansas turned the ball over 3 times in the fourth quarter, so it was really more what the defense did. Rice beat UConn 37-34 in double overtime. New Mexico beat Utah State 33-14. Iowa blew out Minnesota 41-3. Hawkeyes had a punt return for a touchdown and an interception return for a touchdown in that game. Washington State beat Toledo 28-7. Pitt over NC State 53-34. Pay attention to Mason Heinzel, the freshman quarterback who was inserted about 3 weeks ago, had another huge day. He threw 423 yards and 3 touchdowns. San Diego State shut out Fresno State 23-0. Southern Miss over UL Monroe 49-21. Navy State unbeaten. They beat Florida Atlantic 42-32. Temple over Tulsa in overtime 38-37. Northern Illinois over Ball State 21-7. Central Michigan over UMass 38-13. Miami of Ohio over Western Michigan 26-17. TCU beat West Virginia 23-17. Arkansas State over Georgia Southern 34-24. It was Troy over UL Lafayette 35-23. Wyoming shut out Colorado State 28-0. And Utah beat Colorado 53-7. This was 43-0 at the half. Halftime yardstick, the Utes 389 yards, Colorado -18. That was a blowout, and that is your college football scoreboard. Game balls are next. Eagle 98.1 Game Day.
Flight by Yingling is raising the bar by crafting the next generation of light beer. With only 2.6 carbs and 95 calories, this is premium refreshment 6 generations in the making. Flight by Yingling. Raise the bar.
Parish Construction and Roofing.
This is Coach Kim Mulkey. Go to parishbuilt.com for all of your roofing needs.
From your hometown, parishbuilt.com.
My father, J.B. Falgu, had a vision of growth for First American Bank and the communities we serve. The bank's foundation was built on his legacy of compassion, loyalty, and dedication. Through his years of leadership, First American has prospered to heights even J.B. could not have imagined. I know my father would be extremely proud of the customer service and financial stability that First American provides to Southeast Louisiana. We continue to thrive because of the legacy of J.B. Falgu.
104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and First American Bank and Trust bring you the Heart of the Game Award, recognizing student athletes who deliver when it counts. Nominate your game day standout at 1045ESPN.com by the 21st. We'll choose 5 male and 5 female finalists, and then it's up to the fans to vote for the winners. Each winner gets a $250 gift card, a custom award, and the spotlight they've earned. Presented by First American Bank and Trust, a banking tradition since 1910.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they've been called upon to cradle and cool a crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Looks like the lucky just got luckier. Dos Equis.
Man, age is just a number. Don't let it dictate how you feel. Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness has anti-aging services that can help you look and feel your best. Visit yourgoodwood.com and discover a renewed sense of vitality.
At Ochsner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Ochsner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Ochsner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972. Service Chevrolet Cadillac, our family serving your family.
For over 50 years.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief: our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking.
98.1. Eagle 98.1 Game Day, presented by Super Chevy and Yingling. Game balls.
All right, offensively, we give it to Harlem Berry. 9 carries for 59 yards and a touchdown in his first start as an LSU Tiger. Would have been nice to see a little bit more Berry in the second half, but he only had 1 of those 9 carries after halftime. Defensively, we'll go with A.J. Halsey. 12 tackles tonight. He had a pass defense and an interception in the end zone that he brought out 25 yards. Another nice night for A.J. Halsey. Those are our game balls here tonight. We're brought to you by Supreme Rice, SupremeRice.com. Supporting our Louisiana farmers since the 1930s. All of our Supreme Rice grown, milled, and processed in Southwest Louisiana, and they're part of the Climate Smart program, which promotes methane emission reductions and water conservation. Pick up the brown, the long grain, the medium grain, the jasmine, or the parboiled rice wherever you buy rice, and pick it up for your etouffees, your jambalayas, and coming up pretty soon, your gumbos. Make it Supreme Rice. For more information and great recipes, go to SupremeRice.com. Back to wrap it up after this Eagle 98.1 Game Day.
Spencer Callahan is the one to see. Call 387-2323.
LA 21-126-81. Offices in Baton Rouge. WDGL and HD1 Baton Rouge. Eagle 98.1.
After a decade of working in private duty nursing, I know how hard it can be to find compassionate care for the ones that you love the most. So I started Decision Critical, a premier concierge nursing agency, so we can take care of you wherever you are. Our highly skilled nurses provide exceptional care from the comfort of your own home with personalized packages for short-term, long-term, or even around-the-clock care. Visit us at decisioncriticalbr.com and give us a call today to get started.
Trust isn't given, it's earned by showing up, leading the way, and performing at your best when it matters most. Our Lady of the Lake sports medicine experts know what it takes to improve performance and build champions at every level. That's why LSU chose Our Lady of the Lake as its championship health partner, trusting Louisiana's best medical team to care for our state's best athletes. From championship athletes to everyday champions, trusted care starts here.
I trust the lake.
In South Louisiana, you can always count on good people coming together to help our children.
At Dreams Come True, we grant wishes for Louisiana children with life-threatening illnesses. But to do this, we need funds.
That's why we're trying to raise $100,000 for Dreams Come True by giving away the Blessed Children's School.
Make your backyard's dream come true while helping our kids.
Just go to dreampoolla.com and you can find out how your $25 donation might help win you a Duplessis pool.
Every winner knows a great play starts with a solid game plan and the right team by your side. At Sunshine, we're here to keep your operation running strong. From tractors to harvesters, we've got the John Deere equipment you need to tackle every job with confidence. Because when the work's done right, there's more time for the things that matter, like cheering on your favorite team. Make Sunshine Quality Solutions part of your playbook this season and learn more about what it means to be powered by Sunshine at sunnyquip.com.
Raising Cane's is our victory meal.
Football fans are some of the most dedicated fans in sports. It's a fundamental quality we share, and that fuels every single order of our hand-battered chicken fingers. Wherever there's football, there's Raising Cane's.
One love. Let's go.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
Hi, this is Beth Serena. Welcome to my pool. The first time I saw this beautiful pool, it exceeded every expectation that I had. They were able to get everything we wanted in this pool. It is a beautiful pool. We live out here, we eat out here, we watch TV out here. This is like our living room outside. We love this pool and everything about it. When we decided to build our pool, we called a great friend who is one of the best pool builders in the country in North Louisiana, and we said, who would you choose to build a pool in Baton Rouge? And without a hesitation, he told us Russell Pools. He said their history, tradition of great builds, great pools was unmatched. So of course, who did we call? Russell Pools. The advice I would give to anyone looking to build a pool is first call Russell Pools. They'll do an incredible job. It'll be incredibly organized. It'll be time efficient, and you will have your pool in no time.
Flight by Yingling is raising the bar by crafting the next generation of light beer. With only 2.6
98.1.
Eagle 98.1 game day wrapping up. Been a rough stretch, rough night. I know the number one question on everybody's mind that I can't answer is where does LSU go from here? You got an off week. You got a little bit of time. I'm sure there'll be some pretty serious discussions had over on that campus here in the coming days, and we'll see how that goes. But I can promise you one thing, ain't nobody happy right now. Final score, once again, A&M wins it 49-25. From all of us here at the flagship, I'm Charles Hanagriff saying thank you. And good morning. It's been Eagle 98.1 game day.